Hello, everybody, and welcome back to In My Opinionation, a Blossom Watch Through podcast. Every week, we watch a new episode of the famous 90s sitcom Blossom. I am Jen. I'm here with my co-hosts Mallory.
Hey.
And Eric.
Howdy.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Oh, you know, same old, same old. I'm feeling a little more 90s every day.
Ooh, nice.
I need to start wearing more thicker, like knit sweaters and like fun little...
More acid wash.
Yeah, you know, everyone could use a little more acid wash.
Right? Yeah. You don't have your flannel still lying around?
Oh, I do. I'm not lying. It's
you have to start wearing it for the records, man.
Ain't gonna happen. I can't fit into it anymore.
Flannels and work boots.
Yeah.
Oh, God. We're the docs. It was docs all the time, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we need to start dressing to theme for these records.
Yeah.
For our audio podcast.
For our own amusement.
Yeah, just for us. Get us in the mood. So this week, we are watching episode 5 of season 1. It's called Sex, Lies, and Teen-agers. Saucy. This episode aired on February 4th, 1991. The series is created by Dan Rio. This episode was written by Paul Perlove, and it was directed by my friend and yours, Zane Busby.
Zane Busby!
Our favorite 1920s cigar-smoking director, we assume. So the little synopsis, how do you say that word?
Synopsis.
You know how you have those words sometimes where you can never say it right?
Well, you said it like hypnosis, like you were going to hypnotize us. Hypnosis.
Yeah. With my voice. The thing that happens in this episode, Nick and Blossom both navigate relationships when Nick pursues a potential flame and Blossom and Six plan a double date. Things quickly escalate when the girls sneak off to a makeout party and Blossom struggles with the guilt of lying to her father. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on in this one.
Good old makeout parties.
Makeout parties. So some trivia for this episode. This is the first television appearance with Bialik and John Galecki together, who plays her date in this episode. And of course, John Galecki was one of the stars. He played Leonard in The Big Bang Theory, which of course, Mayim Bialik would end up playing Amy Farrah Fowler.
Yeah.
From season 4 of that show on. So it was very cool to see them both as babies.
Yeah, little babies.
He's so little. It was so cute.
So little. His hair is so curly. I love it. And another piece of trivia that I got from IMDb is we have another cameo because the season is just chock full of cameos. Mm-hmm. So we do have a cameo of the TV host Phil Donahue, and apparently he is brother-in-law with the Blossom executive producer Tony Thomas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, right? It's all about who you know. Mm-hmm. So did any of you have any trivia before we keep going?
Yeah, so continuing our theme with Blossom shows airing out of order, this was the 9th episode filmed. Yeah. So it happened chronologically way after all the other shows that we've already done. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the spelling of the title of this show. If you take a look on IMDb, it's spelled Teen-agers with a hyphen between teen and agers. I'm pretty sure Disney just has it how we spell it today, one word. And as a word nerd, I just found it interesting.
It has a dash on Disney.
Does it have a dash on Disney?
Yep.
Okay. As a word nerd, I found it interesting to see how quickly we have adopted teenager as one word. Because this was only 30 years ago?
Only 30 years.
I feel old now.
We're not aging.
But for my entire life, I remember spelling teenager with one word. Mm-hmm. So clearly this was produced around the time when it was moving from being 2 words to 1. And that's just something that I found interesting. And I'm a big dork.
Linguistics. No, that's really cool. And, it's one of those things where I saw it and I told you guys in my brain, I was just like, that's wrong. But I forgot that that's how it used to be spelled. I love that.
That's how language works, you guys. We create new things. I see it a lot now. One word that I think we're kind of in that same space with is healthcare, where sometimes it's 2 words, sometimes it's hyphenated, and sometimes it's 1 word. And we're at a point in time when all 3 are technically correct. And I think we'll start to see the word,
That hurts my brain.
Yeah. That's language.
language is great and weird and awful all at once.
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys ready to get into a breakdown?
Yeah, let's do it.
Breakdown? I'm doing it again.
Breakdown.
Oh no. Okay, let's go. All right, so the episode starts off with the boys in the living room. The scene opens with Nick grounding Joey for cheating on his homework, which Anthony points out to him that he got caught because you can't write a paper on Abraham Lincoln that also calls him the car of the year. That's probably why he got caught. But Joey says, no, that's not why he got caught. He got caught because the guy he bought it off of also sold it to a bunch of other guys. It's not that the information was wrong, stupid.
I remember hearing about this in like high school, that people used to sell things, but I never saw it.
Me neither.
It was a big plot point, I think, in a lot of TV shows, but I've never, maybe I just know good people. I've never known anyone to actually do this.
Like, and you hear about people cheating or whatever, but yeah, I've never heard about it as a crime ring of people selling like, oh, this is the test from last year. Here are all the answers, you know?
Yeah, well,
Operation Varsity Blues.
Yeah. So at this point, Blossom and Six enter, with Blossom lamenting how she screwed up an interaction with a boy she likes, and now she'll be stuck at home while Six is out on a date Friday night. So Nick drops that he hasn't been dating either. Again, I know this family is open, but like a weird thing to bring up.
Well, and also because just a few episodes ago, Blossom was really upset that her dad was dating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
So...
I know. Episodes out of order. So at this point, Jason Bickler calls and he asks Blossom if she would like to go out, and the girls go take the call in her room, which happens clearly before the last thing I said.
So I think we need to explain for the kiddos about how landlines worked.
Oh my God.
Because there's a whole bit here about Blossom making sure her dad was off the phone.
And sending Six over down to make sure.
So how landlines worked was there was one phone number for the whole house, but you could plug in different phones in different rooms. So if somebody called and your dad answered, you could answer the phone in another room and be connected to that ongoing call. But then you need to make sure that your dad's not listening in.
Yeah.
This makes me feel really old. Like really old.
The things that we have to explain on this podcast just in case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, before, the internet was also connected to your phone. So if someone was using the phone, you couldn't be on the internet at the same time.
Yep.
Busy signals, answering machines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
What a wild west it was back then.
I had to explain a tape answering machine the other day. Like the one where you have to put in the cassettes.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my God. No.
And you could, like, if you were home and someone was leaving a message, you could pick up the phone and connect to the call.
Mm-hmm. And still hear it?
Yeah, like the message just played to the whole house.
Yeah.
Oh
Wild.
Look how far we've come.
I know. Technology.
Technology.
So I had a question for you, and this is just me honing in on a stupid detail as I do. Have you guys ever tried to find out the exact time on the microwave popcorn on your microwave? Because there's a line where Blossom says, Six is going to go out and have fun, and I'm going to basically be at home like a spinster and figure out the exact time on the microwave. And Nick goes, I already know what it is. It's 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
That's too long.
Not back in the 90s. Those microwaves were not as strong as they are today. I would come home from school every day when I was probably starting around like 9, because I had an older brother. So we would come home from school. I would call my mom, say, Mom, I'm home. She was at work. And then I would hang up the phone, and then I would make a packet of microwave popcorn, and that was my after school snack. So I knew exactly how long it took to microwave popcorn. And this was back in the days before there was a popcorn button. And then we got a microwave that did have a popcorn button, but the popcorn button was incorrect.
Yep.
So you had to push the popcorn button and then stand there until you heard the popping stop and then open the door.
2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never have I had a microwave that has the proper popping popcorn button. I've always had to just do it manually.
Can I further age myself? Before we got a microwave with the buttons, and I feel like this was like a grandfathered machine we got, it had a dial on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, the popcorn is on the dot. That's the second at the bottom from the left.
Yep.
And now, as an old person, I make popcorn on the stove with a whirly pop, and I just keep spinning it, and I get my popcorn that way, and it tastes better.
I'm an air popper now.
Ooh, I want to get a little popcorn machine for my basement.
Like the ones that look like the old timey movie ones.
Yes.
Yes, I want one of those so bad.
With the wheel, so I can wheel it around.
Yeah.
This is why I need to stop bringing up little details, guys, as we start having conversations about something completely different. All right, we're going to move it along. So at this point, we see the phone call in Blossom's bedroom. It's a very short little scene where they do make sure my dad's off the line. Mm-hmm. And we already covered the cultural context of the phone.
How landlines work.
There's also this cute little bit that we used to have to do because of that, where she fakes having like a normal, innocent conversation till the dad hangs up. And she's like, oh yeah, so that math homework. So anyways, let's go on a date. What? So that's done. That's a short little scene that we see. So then we jump over to Papa Russo. He's ending a call in the kitchen with a woman as Anthony enters the kitchen. And he starts venting to his son that he's known this woman for years and years. They've always flirted a little bit, but the timing was never right for them to get together. Like they were married at different times, etc. But now they're both single and she's turned him down and he's very annoyed about this.
Yeah.
At which point, Anthony quips that, oh God, you think your dad knows everything. But then as you grow up, you realize he wasn't any smarter. He was just taller.
Yeah, I love that line. That's a great line.
A life lesson we all learn.
Right?
Oh, man. So true. So true.
So it was interesting to watch this conversation. And we always talk about how open this family is. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like as a parent, if I would get that much into the details of. So when I was married, I totally used to flirt with this woman.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like I know, obviously it's in the rear view and the mom's not there. So it's technically fine now. But like, do you tell your son that?
Yeah, it's still weird to talk to your child about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Tony's the closest thing to an adult. So I guess at least it's him. But we get to see a little bit into Nick's personal life, which is always interesting to get those little glimpses from him.
Yeah.
So then we get into sort of planning the date for Friday night and what's going to happen. Six shows up and reveals to Blossom that her date has suggested that instead of going to the movies like they'd planned, they go to one of Sheila Osterman's parties.
Yeah.
Now this Sheila Osterman, she's a bad girl.
Yeah.
Sheila Osterman has makeout parties.
Yep.
So Blossom starts going into this weird spiral about going to this party. And like, there's a lot of pressure to not only make out, but like to do it well so people don't make fun of you.
Yeah.
Well, so wait. She's 14, grade 8? Is that grade 8?
I think they're saying beginning of high school.
Yeah, grade 9.
I'm trying to think of back when I had started going to those types of parties.
But did you call them makeout parties?
We all knew what they were. We didn't label them.
I went to house parties where people ended up making out, but you never went going, I'm going to make out with someone tonight.
I think I recall at least one party being solely for that purpose. And I think I was in grade 7 or 8. And that was weird. Oh man, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's a little creepy.
I did not go to makeout parties.
You were a good girl.
I was.
No, you were no Sheila Osterman.
Yeah, no, I did not go to makeout parties. In high school, we went to a lot of like our classmates' concerts. Like I went to an art school. A lot of our classmates were in like rock bands. Mm-hmm. So we would go to concerts, which were also not makeout concerts, just concerts.
What? What kind of concerts do you go to?
What kind of music were they playing?
It's kind of hard to make out when your boyfriend is the drummer.
You're just not trying hard enough. Yes. I love you, Eric.
Mwah, mwah.
I did get free tickets though. That was nice.
Oh boy.
Because of the makeouts.
Yeah, see?
The post-concert makeouts.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, you could have if you tried hard enough. So as they're having this conversation, and Blossom's already kind of spiraling, Six starts to talk about the room. at these parties where people go to do presumably more than making out. Nobody knows really what happens in the room. But one girl at one point was rumored to have walked out with no more eyebrows and then left to join a convent.
Yeah.
Did people draw on eyebrows back then? I thought that was a more recent thing.
In my experience, that was more of a 2000s thing when people had those really pencil thin, literally pencil thin eyebrows.
Yeah.
But maybe they did back then. Who knows? Yeah. So they decide to go to the party kind of based on a buddy system. They're going to go with these guys, but they're going to kind of watch out for each other. If anybody feels uncomfortable at any point, they can decide to leave.
Yeah.
So they know they can't tell Nick anything about this. So they come up with this lie about still going to the movies so that he doesn't find out. Mm-hmm. And the scene is kind of capped off with Blossom telling Nick the lie. And then knife to the heart, he says, there's no one that he trusts more than Blossom. Oh. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, this scene is pretty good. Ugh. So Nick asks like what movie they're going to, and Six just dips. Six just literally walks out of the room.
Best friends ever.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there were a couple references here that I think are a little dated. So first she says they're going to see the new Woody Allen movie. Oops. And then she says they're going to see the new Mel Gibson movie. Oh no! So we're showing a little bit of our age here, the TV show, because these figures were not controversial at the time.
Woody Allen was.
He was, but it was kind of like swept under the rug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still sort of swept under the rug, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is.
There is a new HBO docuseries. It's on Crave in Canada, if you have Crave. It's a 4-part series, and it goes into the whole thing of it and why charges were dropped and all of that. And it's very, very interesting. So if you have a chance, check that out.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I cringed super hard.
Yeah,
when they were talking about the movies, and I just love like the lie spiral. And of course, Nick has seen every movie that has ever been released.
Yeah,
he's a musician. What is he gonna do?
Yeah, he has time on his hands.
The artist in me cries.
I know, right? So at this point, she's told Nick the lie. She's gotten herself so deep into the lie. She's like 6 lies deep now. So we get into a classic Blossom hallucination train.
Yep.
So I brought up his name earlier in the episode. Blossom dreams she's on an episode of Donahue. And I looked up Donahue because I knew the name. I knew it was a talk show, but I didn't know too much about it in a cultural context. So the show Donahue ran for 26 years. It actually started in the 1970s and it went off the air in 1996. So it was really well known for its time. He really tried to get away from like really pulpy issues. He was well known for tackling big topics like interracial relationships. He was one of the first mainstream people to talk about homosexuality when that was a whole thing that was coming to the forefront. And he was known for putting hip hop artists and kind of underground artists on his show kind of before they got into the mainstream as well.
Cool.
So he kind of fell out of popularity in the 90s when like Oprah and all those people were showing up. So this in the episode is kind of at the very end of his show, but he was like you could drop the name and it was a huge name by then.
I remember Donahue so much.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everyone watched it.
Was it an after school show or a sick day show?
It was it a sick day show? I think it was an afternoon show, but it could have been a sick day show. It was those time. I was not a very in there teenager. I don't know. Let's be honest.
You were very aware of your surroundings.
Apparently, I wasn't aware of those days, so I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, this is another one of those. Donahue getting on this show was a big deal. Now we know like he had an in, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
So Blossom imagines herself on an episode of Donahue, and the name of the episode is Women Who Lie to Their Fathers.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss the fact that it's called Women Who Lie to Their Fathers, and Blossom is referred to as a woman who lied to her father and not a girl, which I think is very interesting because I think a lot of people would refer to a 14-year-old as a girl, but they're not. they're becoming young women.
Well, she's also coming up with this in her own head, right?
Yeah.
So she's thinking about makeout parties and she thinks she's grown up at this point. So in her own brain, she is a woman.
Right.
And then we laugh as adults and be like, oh, honey.
I'm not even an adult now.
I know, right? So that's super interesting. I didn't really catch on to that.
Well, and I was thinking about it in the context of feminism in terms of how people tend to refer to women as girls way later, like into their 20s, into their 30s even, and the infantilization of women. So I thought it was just another moment of highlighting Blossom as a feminist TV show, repping women, and yeah.
Yeah. The juxtaposition of that is actually super funny compared to everything that is said about her in this stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like Donahue calls her the scum of the earth.
Yep.
Like he's taking commentary. Like there's a caller who is Joey, and Joey's saying he's just crushed by all the events. And then he asks for Madonna's number. And then he takes an audience question, and it's 6, who says Blossom is terrible and should be grounded forever. And then the capper on this is that Nick shows up on a video feed.
Yep.
On the stage. So, Eric, can you tell me, is this a thing that
this was a thing
he did on this show?
Yep,
okay.
It was.
Because I didn't know quite what the technology was at that time, like to do the real-time video calls. Obviously, they could do it to a certain extent, but okay, that's interesting. I didn't know. So Nick shows up on the video feed and just starts sobbing.
Yeah, he says he has no daughter.
He just starts sobbing and saying he doesn't have a daughter anymore. And then Blossom wakes up. Have you ever had these like really vivid, we've seen so many Blossom dreams like this.
There are times when I've had vivid dreams, but like there are still dreams that I remember distinctly that feel so real. But not as fun as hers.
My dreams, a lot of people can tell you their dream and it's like somewhat coherent and like follows a plot. I don't have dreams like that. It's, we're here and then all of a sudden this is happening. It's a completely different. And then, we're halfway around it doesn't follow. So it's more like things happen obviously in dreams, but it's more of an emotion that it evokes as opposed to like a story that it's telling.
Okay.
The ones that are more vivid in my head are the ones that are mixed with reality, like things that have sort of happened, and then they just get a fun little spin.
Which I think is what they're playing on with this.
Yeah.
So that's really good. I know everybody dreams different, so I was curious about that. The more and more dreams we see like this. Okay, so Donahue rips her a new one.
Yep.
And then we move on to a classic siblings in the kitchen scene. Yeah. Which starts... Fucking Joey. Sorry, we can edit that out. I don't even know what to say about this kid anymore. So it starts with Joey's in the kitchen. He says he's learned one thing from being grounded. Dad keeps condoms in the sock drawer. And then he just walks away. Like, that's his line for the scene.
Like, how does being grounded and finding condoms in your dad's sock drawer connect? Like, I don't understand how
he'd just be snooping.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I guess he just bored and wanted to snoop through everything.
Bored in the house, and he's in the house bored.
Why sock drawer?
But why is that the only line that he has? And just why in general?
I think they just needed to put him in the scene somehow. I don't know.
I would be so happy with less Joey scenes, but that's just a hot take from me.
Yeah. He's a series regular, though. Probably in his contract that he has to be in every episode.
I know he'll get better. I just don't like him right now. Anyways, that line just like shook me to my core. I'm like, that was unnecessary.
Yep.
So, of course, Blossom comes in looking like a 40-year-old, putting on makeup.
Her little compact.
Oh, my God. Like, just casually putting on makeup in front of her brother. And Anthony says, oh, yeah, so you're going to a makeout party. And she's like, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? And he's like, you're putting on makeup and you're wearing a turtleneck, which he calls a hide a hickey dicky. which is fantastic.
Best name for a shirt ever.
Best name for a shirt. And he's like, oh yeah, we all used to wear those when we went to our makeout parties, except it didn't always work because mom caught me one time and I got in trouble.
Yeah. Has this ever happened to you guys?
What, getting caught with a hickey?
Yeah.
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 I mean, they'd never, if it did, they never said anything.
So it wasn't my parents who said anything. I did a quote unquote victory lap of high school. So I graduated after they had gotten rid of grade 13, but you could stay an extra year and do additional courses if there was stuff that you were interested in. So that's what I did. And one of the courses that I did was peer tutoring. So I was kind of like a teacher's assistant for the musical theater class who had some of my friends' little sisters in it, and people like they were only a year younger than me. So it was people my age. And I was at a friend's house, and one of the students who was in the class noticed that I had a hickey and went, my peer tutor has a hickey, and then started laughing.
That's amazing. That's much better than mine.
And there goes that respect.
Yeah. I don't think there was any to begin with, but it was certainly lost then.
Mine was the last person that caught mine was back in, I'm going to say 2004-ish, and is married to one of our co-hosts here.
What?
Yeah, not Tristan. I was talking about Matt.
It's me.
He's like, we were at quarters, and this is before I started dating Megan. So, and Matt was like, oh, looked like someone had a good night or something like that. And I was like, and I was there with like someone I was trying to see that wasn't that person. No, so I had to pull Matt aside. I was like, oh, dude, chill.
He would be the one to call that out.
I just burnt myself with the curling iron.
Yeah, right? I don't know that.
I'm sure he doesn't remember that.
I don't know if I've ever been called out. Again, I'm sure it's been noticed. Mom and Dad, if you're listening to the podcast, write in. Let me know if there's a time that you saw it and didn't say anything.
Yeah, send us an email or check out our information in the show notes.
I've like my parents have caught me doing way more weirder stuff than you would have ever been. So, whatever.
So we're all bad kids except for Mallory.
Yeah, I was a good kid.
Oh, man. Speaking of bad kids, the girls are getting ready to leave the house. Six also shows up in a turtleneck.
Yep.
Amazing.
It's fashion.
And she's wearing a weird crocheted sweater over it. There are some looks in this. Go check out this scene. So Nick wishes them a good night, have fun at the movies, and they GTFO.
I think there's another lesson we have to give the kiddos here. So Nick asks if Blossom has quarters for the payphone, and she has $5 of quarters. So before cell phones, there were phones in public places that you would put a quarter in, and then you could call somebody, and they were called payphones.
I remember using a payphone in the mid 2010s, and it wasn't a quarter anymore.
No, they raised it to 50 cents.
Mm-hmm. I was like,
rude.
What? Yeah. I had one quarter. I was like, I can't call anyone now. I guess I'm walking.
So that was the thing. So I remember calling my mom from a payphone after movies to be like, Mom, the movie's done.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes what kids would do was, instead of putting the quarter in, they would call collect. And when you call collect, it asks you to say your name. So when the person answers the phone, it's a robot saying, you have a collect call from Mallory. And then they can decide whether to pick it up or not. So kids would call collect. And when it came to recording their name, they would just go, Mom, the movie's done, come pick me up.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea. I never did that.
Yeah.
I definitely tried to get a quarter back out by tying a string around it. That didn't work. But,
like in the cartoons.
Yeah, I thought it was real.
Thank God.
Oh,
it was not. I lost a string.
I love hearing about your childhood. I'm learning so much about you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. So moving on. The girls show up to the boys plus baby Johnny Galecki at the party. And it looks normal. Kids are doing some sweet 90s dance moves. Oh man. It's all bad. So they're all dancing. They're like, oh, this looks like a normal party. This is totally fine. And at that exact moment, the lights dim and everybody starts slow dancing and moving to the couches. So the girls immediately escape to the bathroom to freak out.
Mm-hmm.
And they get themselves together and decide to return to the living room. And everyone's doing the makeout thing.
But before they return, they do a breath check.
Yes.
Six's breath smells like green Tic Tacs, and Blossom's breath smells like root beer, which is good enough.
Good enough.
I like the smell of root beer. I'd be fine with that.
I wish I had a house where the living room would automatically turn into makeout lights.
Right? They must have had one of those slider switches.
Yeah, I guess. But the music all changed and everything. It was just like automatic sexiness.
Well, you know, Sheila Osterman, she's got her shit hooked up.
It's probably a remote. Fireplace turns on.
Yeah. She's been working on this scene for a while. She knows what's going on. So they head back in the room. Everyone's all making out and stuff. At this point, the boys, I think, are off to the side or they're gone at this point. So they kind of try to take a little look into the room.
Yep.
And just as they're doing that, a dude walks out, says, hey, does anybody want anything? There's a chick that goes, chopsticks and turtlenecks. Throwback.
Because there's a room full of just turtlenecks.
Turtlenecks everywhere.
Oh my God.
So the boys show back up and they have the option of going into the room or sitting and talking or dancing. And they opt for dancing.
Yeah. And they do that awkward middle school slow dancing thing where you're kind of like an arm's distance away and just swaying back and forth.
Well, you need
room
the
for
space.
Jesus.
Yeah, damn it. The Holy Spirit.
Oh, it's the Holy Spirit. See, I didn't go to Catholic school. Yeah. I went to public school like a heathen. So at this point, they start dancing. We cut away back to the Russo house. So you guys know me. I like to title my scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I've titled this scene, Papa Russo Getting It. Accurate. So Nick is at home, and then the lady friend he had previously talked about shows up on the pretense of giving him some sheet music, and very quickly is like, that's not why I'm here. I wanted to come see you. And starts talking about, you know, I'm interested in you too, but I'm really gun shy about getting back into a relationship. They do some weird double entendre about musical instruments. They start having a little smoochy time, and Joey immediately shows up to ruin things like he always does.
What a dumbass. Yep. I was clueless as a teenager, not that clueless.
Oh, what are you guys doing? What's going on? Literally sits right in the middle of them because of course he fucking does. So he complains about the Nintendo being broken because he's useless. So this chick suggests going back to her place and, you know, rehearsing that musical number.
Minus the piano.
Bow chicka bow bow.
Yeah, you are. And then he's like all into it. He's just about to go. And then he realizes he needs to stay home because he's waiting for Blossom to come home. And they have another little cutie smoochy before she goes, which Joey stares at because he's the worst.
Oh, so weird.
Who does that? Like, does this lady come back in the show?
I think she shows up later, like maybe season 2 she does come back. I did want to talk a little bit about the actress. So
she's awesome.
Yeah, so she's played by Brenda Strong, who was Mary Alice Young in Desperate Housewives, Nora Walker on 13 Reasons Why, and Lillian Luther on Supergirl, among many, many, many other things. So another pretty big name before they were a big name.
Yeah, it was very cool.
You forgot that she was in Starship Troopers?
Okay, she was. There you go.
Damn.
Come on. The most popular one of all.
Yeah, she was also on Gilmore Girls, so.
Was she?
Yeah, she played Ava in like one episode.
Okay, well that.
Oh, okay. It's like there's a whole town of people. I can't remember them all. Yeah, so she's a great actress. She's very, very popular. And it was again, it was kind of fun to see Nick's personal life.
Yeah,
like he could get it if he wants to, you know.
Piano players, man.
Like he's a very charming guy.
And very young for having 3 children, one of whom is presumably in their early 20s.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well, how old do you think he is in this?
Like mid 40s.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
20-year-old. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's young by
today's standards.
Yeah,
that's sort of normal then, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, we see him macking, And then we jump back to the makeout party.
Ooh.
Where Six and her date are making out.
I think they're supposed to be making out, but they're literally just hugging while the dude like awkwardly strokes her back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like she had a stomach ache and he just wants to make her feel better.
Yeah, right. No. So she's like, oh, so much for the buddy system.
Mm-hmm.
So Jason and Blossom decide to sit down as well. Jason pulls this like the worst version I think I've ever seen of the sneaky arm.
Of the yawn and arm. Yeah.
He's like saying he's going to get her a snack that's on the side table, which is like 10 feet away.
It's over there.
Puts an arm around her and Blossom like immediately pulls away. And he kind of goes in for a kiss and she does the picturing her dad being disappointed in her.
Yeah.
My God. Terrible. So and then they also have a little smooch.
But they actually have a smooch. I'm not convinced that Six is making out with anybody.
No, her head is fully on his shoulder. There is no kissing happening there. So they have an actual kiss, Blossom and Jason. Mm-hmm. And then at that exact moment, Sheila runs in saying her parents have come home and everybody scatters and the girls run into the bathroom.
Dumbest decision ever.
Like, jump out a window, man. Right?
Yeah. Don't run
there's
into...
a dog out there. They couldn't. Remember, that's what the dad said.
Well, but all the other kids ran outside.
Yeah.
No, I meant like from the window because she was like, I hear something out there.
Yeah, they shouldn't have run into the bathroom. They should have just followed everybody else outside.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They can only catch so much of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So the parents say, okay, everybody call your parents. We're letting you know.
So this is the point when Kat joined me watching this episode.
Okay.
So so I can add her comments for the rest of it.
Yes, please.
I loved Blossom and Six pretending to be plumbers in the bathroom.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, the parents are like, who's in there? And Blossom says, plumbers. And then they're asked to call their parents, to which Six replies, plumbers don't have parents.
So good.
So don't become a plumber because you won't have parents.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love a hijink. So we see the return home. Nick and Blossom come home as she's complaining that things aren't fair. He loses his goddamn mind again. Mm-hmm. She runs upstairs. And
Kat goes, my daughter goes,
Yep.
Why is her dad mad? She just went to a makeup party.
That's adorable.
Because we have makeup parties at home.
Oh.
Where we put on makeup.
That's adorable.
I love that.
And then she goes, did her dad go to a makeup party before? I was like, I don't know.
Probably.
He's a musician, let's be honest.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh my God. I want this running commentary all the time from her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Blossom runs upstairs. Joey kind of makes light of the fact that it's just a makeout party. You know, she kissed a guy. She didn't kill him.
Because he grounded her for 6 months.
Yeah, for 6 months, he says he grounded her for.
It's insane.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
So, you know, Nick is just freaking out on anybody who dares talk to him at this point. Of course, Anthony, who is shockingly always the voice of reason, says, you know, you're overreacting. Maybe you're not mad about the party itself, but the fact that she lied about the party, which, like, fact.
Yep.
Any thoughts about this scene? It was kind of a big one.
Oh, Tony's always there to, like, be the voice of reason, especially as someone who's a recovering addict who sort of, he's more retrospective, I guess, now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he thinks about things from various angles. So it's nice to hear him give his thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to kind of talk Nick down. Like, you can see when Tony says, is it the lying or that she went to the makeout party? You can see on Nick's face that he wants to say, well, it's I don't, like, he doesn't want Tony to be right, but he knows that Tony's right.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of being like, what? Shut up.
Yeah.
You're a towel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really love Tony now. So, of course, as always, Nick goes up to the bedroom and he talks to Blossom, and they have this whole thing where they have this whole conversation, but she says, you can't look at me because I can't bear to see your face right now. So she's sitting on the bed and he literally turns his chair around and faces the other way.
I thought that was so sweet.
That was very cute.
which was like very cute, but very sad at the same time.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, you know what? Your grounding's going to be shorter than 6 months, but it was the line that let him down.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have this really interesting conversation, which I kind of agreed with, like thinking back on my own teenage years or whatever. Blossom saying, I know you're disappointed in me lying, but I'm a teenager and you're the parent. How do you think we're possibly going to get through this relationship with me never lying to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she says, like, I need to experience things that teenagers need to experience.
Yeah.
And if I tell you that I'm going to go experience those things, I won't, like, you won't let me, and I'm going to live at home until I'm 30. And I think he kind of acknowledges that, like, she does have to experience those teenage things, and he can't be as protective as he wants to be.
Yeah. And it's the first time that I remember in recent memory that a show with a teenage parent relationship has come out and said, not, oh, you got to let me experience life, but acknowledging letting me experience life is sometimes going to be me lying to you, and you just need to get over it.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way I'm going to like grow into a full person.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also acknowledging that she's going to lie to him and she's going to get punished for it, but 6 months is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be appropriate punishment.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are you thinking about, Eric? I can see on your face.
Yeah, you have a face happening.
I'm thinking because I know it's right, it's true, and I know it's going to happen to me, and it's going to happen sooner than I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she didn't want to see her dad, like she didn't want to look at his face when they're upset at each other. It happens now already. Like if they're bad at like my kids, they'll sometimes go on their bed and then face the other way. And we'll talk, but they don't want to see me. But they also don't want me to leave.
I remember feeling that way. I remember being upset for whatever reason, like got in trouble about something, and I would hide under my blankets on my bed, and my mom would come and talk to me, and like I didn't want her to leave, but I also just wanted to stay under the covers.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, so we kind of stay unresolved in this moment. Of, Nick comes over to the bed and kind of puts an arm around her, but they still aren't looking at each other. And the conversation just ends on, you're not going to be grounded for 6 months, but nobody has a solution of how to, it's not a happy tie up the loose ends moment. It does stay very open, the issue.
Yeah, I think it's recognizing that in the real world, like not the TV world, in the real world, sometimes there are no solutions, and you just have to kind of come to an agreement and, see
where it goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the end of the episode, is them having this kind of weird, kind of contentious talk, but they both got smooches in. So there's that at least. So I guess because we're kind of touching on the point right now, instead of jumping to outfit, do you want to do lesson of the day? Because we're kind of already there.
Yeah.
Eric, you got a lesson?
I don't know. Now I'm trying to think of it, because now I'm thinking about that whole letting.
You're still fearing for your future right now.
I'm not fearing it. I know it's going to happen, and I know my kids are good, but it's the lying. Like, oh man, it's just I know it's going to happen, but it still hurts.
I feel I can see your dad's soul being crushed right now, and I feel so bad.
Yeah, it's okay, because I know they're good girls. So
yeah.
Yeah, you have to have faith in how you're raising them, that you're raising them to.
Yeah, it's more of the unsureness of how I'm raising them. Like you're never sure if you're totally doing the right thing, and I don't think as a parent you'll ever feel like you're always doing the right thing. So I don't know if that's a lesson.
No, I'm sure you are, but you're the one with the kids, so I love getting that perspective of it.
Yeah.
It's different than what we have,
True. Yeah.
Mal, do you have one?
Yeah, so it's just along the lines of what we've already been saying, that kids and teenagers are going to grow up, and you can't stop them from growing up. You have to embrace that they are growing up and guide them as best as you can. Yeah. And sometimes that means that they're going to lie to you, but if you've taught them well, then they're not going to get into anything too dangerous.
Yeah.
That was basically exactly mine.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah. This might have been the first time on an episode where we all had exactly the same lesson.
Yeah.
So good job, writers. You did it. So let's go to the outfit of the day. We started with Mal. You go first this time.
Okay. So I had a twofer. This one, twofer, because I had to say it was Blossom and Six's matching turtleneck date outfits. And I don't think that you can recognize one without recognizing the other. So Blossom has what I thought was a dress, but is actually a romper. She has this blue patterned romper over a yellow turtleneck with this grayish, brownish, adultish blazer. And Six has a pink crocheted sweater that's like frilly at the neck over a white turtleneck with a floral skirt. And those are some date outfits.
Oh, hell yeah. Eric?
Me, on the other hand, I'm going to go with their dates because Johnny Galecki has the most wonderful red shirt and jean combo. The red has sort of this, I don't even know what kind of style this is. It looks like I don't know. You know when you get those that ornate stuff in like ancient paintings where there's like trills and
trying
stuff?
to find it for you, but
I don't know how to explain this, but it's just
trying to help you out here.
And I can't. I just don't.
Oh, okay. It's not a paisley.
No.
But it's a very florally, like obviously we can't see it up close, but it's a very florally looking purple on gold.
But it's not flowers.
Type of
it's weird.
It's not flowers, but we should maybe grab something for it.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be in our Instagram.
You tell us what the hell this is.
No, we don't know how to explain it. It is something, though.
Yeah. So, Mallory, I'm actually sharing one with you, but I think we're doing it for different reasons. Okay. So my outfit was also Blossom's date outfit, but it made me laugh because I've commented before on how they've chosen to dress Blossom in the first season and how she kind of goes into like weird grandma territory.
Yep.
And this outfit made me laugh, first of all, because of the turtleneck, but it's her idea of what she thinks a grown-up looks like. And also if you look at Nick's lady and what she shows up in, she also has that half back, slightly dangly earrings, like that cut blazer sort of look. So because I look into costumes way too much, to me, that was like, this is what she thinks a grown-up is. Yeah. So she's going to wear it to her first makeout party.
Yeah.
Because she's so mature.
Yeah, I'm an adult now.
Yeah, I'm an adult. And then to have like Nick's date kind of wear the same sort of thing. Like this really weird juxtaposition that I thought was hilarious. All right. So I think the last thing we have to do is our score. So Eric, out of 5 turtlenecks, what is your score?
I'm going to give this 5 just because of all the feels that I've gotten. And I like the daddy-daughter sort of dynamic throughout this. It seems real. Like it felt real. So 5.
Mallory?
Yeah, I also gave it a 5 because, I mean, it is a comedy. It's a sitcom. But I do like that they didn't wrap everything up in a pretty little bow at the end, that it kind of ended on this uncertain ending of that's just what life is. Yeah.
You know what? I was debating this right up until now, but I think I'm also at a 5. It's cool to see Nick as a human person.
Yeah.
Kind of for the first time. And I also like that they left something unresolved, and that will probably show up later, I'm sure. So way to be real, Blossom.
Yeah. Plus it's nice going back to those times of makeout parties.
Yeah.
All the making out we did, we were so popular and hot.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, you guys were.
Nope.
All right, guys. So that has been Sex, Lies, and Teenagers. Next week, we're going to be looking at episode 6 of season 1, and it's called I Ain't Got Nobody. Nobody, 2 words.
Yep.
Wordplay. So make sure to check in next week for that. That's it for us this week. Thank you for listening, and we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to In My Opinionation.
Don't forget to rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at I Am Opinionation, our website at IamOpinionation.com, or email us at opinionationpod@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear your opinionation about this or any future episodes.
New episodes come out every Tuesday.
Thanks again for listening, and until next week,
the sun is gonna surely shine.